Anyone who has seen Community will tell you that the show was streets ahead. Community follows a Spanish study group as they make their way through Greendale Community College. But the show is so much more than that. Community has gotten a resurgence in popularity as Netflix recently started streaming it, and I could not be more excited to be exposed to such a brilliant show, especially considering its rocky airing history. To clarify, NBC canceled the show after 5 seasons despite high ratings and awards. It was later picked up by none other than Yahoo Screen, the official streaming service ran by Yahoo. You probably haven't heard of it, and that's because it went bankrupt shortly after buying Community. And what other show could say it's killed an entire streaming service? But don't let the fact that it's been canceled discourage you from watching it. The ratings for the show were phenomenal, and it was only closed due to low viewership. Think of other great shows that have been canceled and reopened. Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Arrested Development. Community is no different. Some even suggest that the show is simply too advanced for its time, and I agree. It's much more suited for the current binge-watching age we are going through, and the jokes and references from past episodes are much more likely to be spotted. Now, let's take a look at the actual content of the show. I want to go through an episode from the first season, Contemporary American Poultry. This episode mirrors the film Goodfellas. I picked this episode because it has the classic Community genre manipulation without being too popular. I think you should experience the fan favorites on your own. Still, this episode is captivating as always and is a great watch. First, I want to give a brief rundown of the characters. Jeff can talk his way out of almost anything. He uses his convincing words and natural charm to get out of work and get his way. Though this often results in him taking the easy, selfish way out of things. But he's a natural leader and always encourages the group when they are down. Britta is a self-proclaimed anarchist. She's always looking for causes to support and world problems to be recognized. Though this can be a bit overbearing and she fails to find effective times to spread awareness. This ultimately comes off as annoying. Still, she cares about the little guy, and though she has strong opinions, she is often quite clumsy, which makes her a more human character. Abed, easily the fan favorite, is a nerd, but not in the traditional sense. Sure, he's into Star Wars and Inspector Spacetime, or Doctor Who, but what makes him interesting is how he applies his fascination with TV shows, movies, and documentaries to real life. He struggles with reading emotion and fears being alienated by his friends, as so many others have previously abandoned him. But by comparing formulas for TV shows and movies, he can better understand the world around him. He constantly relates events in their lives to the events of a TV show, making him the perfect platform for clever and effective fourth wall breaking. Troy is Abed's best friend. Troy was once the classic popular high school quarterback. He even had a scholarship going for him until he was injured and had to quit. Troy has a certain childish charm to him, but sometimes he's just not the brightest. However, he feels more comfortable in community college, where he can be his true self with no expectations. He even often embraces his inner nerd with Abed. Annie is a bright, driven student. She excels at her schoolwork and is always striving for the best. However, this perfectionism she possesses often gets in the way and causes more problems. The reason why she attends community college in the first place is because she became addicted to Adderall back in high school, though she did give it up before starting college. Still, her motivated attitude often comes in handy as she pushes the rest of the group to do their best, especially Jeff, whose goal is to do the bare minimum at all times. Pierce is the oldest of the group. He's sexist, homophobic, and racist. Though he doesn't get away with this, and the group always calls him out and often pushes him away for the majority of the show. Despite his insensitivity, he sometimes acts as a guide for life lessons for the rest of the group, and even thinks of some as his children. Pierce, too, fears his friends leaving him, and gets upset when the group plans things without him. Dan Harmon, the creator of not only Community, but also Rick and Morty, described Pierce as a teddy bear, because he deserves much more love than he deserves. And Shirley. At the beginning of the show, she is a single mother of 2 kids. She is very passionate about her religion, and bases a lot of her morals around this. But because of this, she can be judgmental and manipulative towards her friends who might disagree with her. However, it's obvious that she loves her friends like family, and only wants the best for them. What I love about each character is that they aren't 2D and flat like so many other characters out there. They all have good and bad qualities, making them much more human. Not too long ago, I was discussing with my friend whether or not Britta was a bad character, and as I went through the other people in Community, I realized that they all have annoying qualities. But most have a valid reason for being that way, and their redeemable qualities often outshine the annoying parts of their character. You can be upset with one character in one episode, but love them in another. This makes for a very nice contrast, and overall makes the episodes much more interesting. A character just won't work if they have no flaws. Now, finally, on to the actual episode. Contemporary American Poultry begins with the group in their study room. Jeff wants them to hurry up and finish so that he can get in line for the popular chicken fingers sold in the cafeteria.
What, that's what he said?
Hey, Ben, your social skills aren't exactly streets ahead. Know what I mean?
I don't.
You're not alone in this case.
Pierce, stop trying to coin the phrase streets ahead.
Trying? Coined and minted. Been there, coined that. Streets ahead is verbal wildfire.
Does it just mean cool, or is it supposed to be like miles ahead?
If you have to ask, your street's behind.
Okay, we can banter if we want to banter, but I'm warning you, I am leaving for lunch early.
Me too.
Me 3.
Streets ahead.
Man, you guys really love these stupid chicken fingers, huh?
Annie tells them that the chicken fingers are the only good things sold in the cafeteria, and all the Greentail students rush to get in line before they sell out. However, the group doesn't get their chicken fingers that day, and as they sit at their table, they see Starburns, the fry cook, giving a different group of people exclusive chicken to gain popularity when Jeff suggests a plan. They decide to get Starburns fired and create their own system so that they can be the ones with the chicken fingers. At this point, Abed begins to narrate the episode.
It's like a mafia movie. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be in a mafia movie. Cool.
That's exactly what it's like, Abed. And you get the most important job. You're gonna be fry cook.
We may be watching different mafia movies.
They expose Starburns, and he gets fired. With that, Abed applies for the job.
Back in those days, Jeff Winger was the guy that made things happen. He always knew what to say, and he always knew when to slap the table.
You wanna be sheep? Keep flocking. You wanna be wolves? Form a pack.
And that was it. It was that simple. At that moment, we stopped being a family and started being a family. In italics. Britta got cozy with Starburns. He lowered his guard. He was gone. I mean, the way Jeff saw it, by not respecting us, Starburns had basically brought it on himself. And when his job opened up, we did what we had to do to keep the list of applicants to a minimum. I had worked in my dad's falafel restaurant, so I had a pretty impressive resume.
It's very impressive, especially your reference. Let's just give him a call right now.
But we weren't taking any chances. The fix was in.
Trump Tower, this is Donald. Well, they can deep fry the hell out of chicken, I can tell you that.
Troy even applied for the same job and gave the world's worst interview, just to make me look better. And that was that.
Now, the group has their beloved chicken, and Abed reveals that he has been giving the Spanish teacher chicken in exchange for a 10% bump on all of their Spanish tests. They decide to capitalize on this newfound power and start to smuggle chicken fingers so they can sell them to people in exchange for more stuff and power. Shirley gets a hot guy, Pierce gets a TV and an entourage, Annie gets a nice bag, Britta gets a hairstylist, and Troy gets a monkey, naturally.
What the hell is going on?
AV kids hooked it up. I bet supplied the whole department with chicken fingers.
You think that's good? Check out my posse and Troy's monkey.
Why do you have a monkey?
It's an animal that looks like a dude. Why don't I have 10 of them?
The group starts to argue, and when Jeff tries to silence them, they don't listen. He has lost his power, and he realizes that they'll only listen to Abed. Jeff goes to Abed to get him to shut the system down because he thinks the power is getting to him. Abed doesn't want to end the chicken finger business because he finally feels that he no longer needs TV shows to understand people, and he calls Jeff out on his ego.
The mafia movie is over.
I'm not doing a mafia movie. In fact, I don't need to use movies or TV shows to talk to people anymore. Before, I only needed them because the day-to-day world made no sense to me, but now everyone's speaking the same language, chicken. I understand people, and they finally understand me.
Abed, eventually people are gonna get tired of chicken. I'm tired of chicken.
You're not tired of chicken. You miss the taste of control.
Well, that's crazy.
Is it? Unfortunately, the very thing that drove you to this dorm room is what would prevent you from properly running this machine, or even being a cog in it, your ego.
And for your information, I don't have an ego. My Facebook photo is a landscape.
You're the best, Eduardo.
Annoyed, Jeff goes back to the group and tries to tell him that Abed has gone crazy. But they just point out that Jeff hates that he's not in power anymore.
Why should he? Just so not.
Say streets ahead and die.
Streets ahead. You want to boss me around? Get me an entourage. Get Troy a monkey. That's what a real boss does.
We probably shouldn't even be talking to him without checking with Abed.
I'm already trying him. He's not picking up. What did you do with him?
I don't believe what greedy sellouts you people turned out to be. I'm not gonna stand here and be ignored.
Voicemail. Hey, Abed. Jeff says you're not listening to him. Does that mean we shouldn't listen to him either? Oh, also, should we make special jackets for our crime family, like blazers with chicken finger patches? I don't know. Long message. I'm sorry.
That's it. Look, I'm walking out this door right now.
Okay.
For real.
Good.
I'm not gonna look back. Goodbye.
Later, after being rejected by the group, Starburns tells Jeff that he can ruin the chicken fryer by removing an irreplaceable plug, but Jeff isn't so sure if he wants to do that. Meanwhile, the rest of the group becomes used to their luxuries and no longer respect Abed. So, he takes them away. Annie's bag is ruined, he gets rid of Pierce's entourage and breaks his TV, Troy's monkey is released, gum is put in Britta's hair, and he feeds Shirley's new man.
But the family's success started to go to their heads.
They didn't have college rules?
No, sorry.
It's okay.
Hey, Dad, who is this?
It's Travis. You said you wanted someone in your entourage named Travis.
Travis is his middle name.
I go by Travis.
Oh, you go by the door.
See you, Travis.
My monkey hates this caviar.
Troy's in there. They were spoiled, fat, lazy. I'd given them everything, and somehow I'd lost their respect. So I did the only thing I could think of. I did what I thought Jeff would do. Sent them a message.
The group is upset, but they're snapped back to reality, and Jeff regains his power. That night, Jeff goes to the school to break the fryer, but instead he finds Abed there, trying to fry the newest craze. Jeff talks with him, and Abed reveals that all he wanted was to connect with people, like how Jeff could.
What were you close to? To the group? To people?
Please don't do a special episode about me.
Oh, I wouldn't dream of it.
Everyone else needs my help. That's what people don't get, is that they need to get me. I just need to be able to connect to people like you can. Then I can make everyone happy.
So, Jeff proposes that he could help Abed connect with people, and in return, Abed could help him do a better job with them. Abed agrees, and they eat chicken fingers together, 16 candle style.
Can we eat them while sitting on a table like in 16 Candles?
Pick one reference, Abed.
16 Candles. And just like that, the Mafia movie was over. I quit the fry cook job, somewhat for the sake of the family, but mostly for the sake of Jeff's ego.
They quit the fry cook scam, and everything goes back to normal. And with that, the episode ends, revealing that the whole thing was narrated by Abed because he was trying to help the dean.
Back to watching from the outside. For now. There's still not enough chicken fingers.
No way. No, seriously.
You know what they'll never make a replacement for? Friends.
Do you know who might have stolen a box of hairnets from the kitchen?
Someone with hair.
I'm gonna write that down.
What I love about contemporary American Poultry is that it's the first episode in which they really play with the style of how the episode is shot and written. It's the first new step into that genuine community feel. The show suddenly gets a whole new layer to it that you just don't find in other shows. What makes this show interesting is the way that the writers manipulate genre. They often take inspiration from other movies, films, or even documentaries to enhance the story and sometimes even satirize overused tropes in other sitcoms. Their use of genre in the show is what gives Community the dimension that so many other shows out there fail to achieve. But at the same time, most of the episodes are like any other well-written modern comedy, and that's what makes the different episodes so special. They are the reason that one season can fall flat, but the value of the show won't drop as a whole, and is still worth experiencing. Normal shows tell us what the characters are feeling. Community shows us how the characters feel. Instead of being the audience watching from afar, We are immersed in the story and feel the same things as the characters. They use the genre and style of each special episode to convey emotion of the characters in a way that I've never seen before. It would have been so easy for this episode to make fun of the group, decide to take chicken fingers sold in the cafeteria way too seriously. But instead, this episode makes us feel like we are there, a part of their antics, and taking it just as seriously. Community is proof that things that are silly can also be well crafted. This is reflected both in the writing of the show and the show itself. Sure, it's a comedy, but where it shines is in the intricate and hidden jokes that you need to watch over and over again to notice. Many sitcoms fall into a pattern where each joke is predictable and formulated. However, Community continuously provides well-crafted jokes, both obvious and subtle references to pop culture, and even makes fun of shows with lazy writing. Even the events of the show teach us that leaning into crazy situations instead of pushing them away can make the experience that much better. Whether it's a school-wide paintball game, a game of the floor is lava across the entire campus, or simply imagining yourself somewhere else, putting work into these so-called childish games can be fun. Community is a reminder to everyone that life doesn't have to be so mundane, and if you find yourself in a bizarre situation, it doesn't hurt to put logic behind you and join in. And that's what makes Community streets ahead.
¿Dónde está la biblioteca? Me llamo T-Bone, la araña discoteca.
Discoteca, muñeca, la biblioteca. Es un bigote grande, pero manteca.
Manteca, bigote, gigante, pequeño. Cabeza es nieve, cerveza es bueno.
Buenos días, me gusta papas frías. Bigote de la cabra, es Cameron Diaz. Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
What? It's 2009.
Word.